what you guys want. And this student submissions is kind of in there, student survey responses, I'm calling them, because they're not exactly submissions, because then you don't ask about water, all the options are up there. So it's a little bit of a.
Righty ho, we're live for our public workshop. So just to remind everybody that it is public, we're not making any decisions. This is just a workshop. So
We're starting to make these decisions in normal stuff.
oh, well, that might be you, Stu, but please take it away.
So what I was trying to hopefully achieve today is a couple of outcomes. One, show you how to log in and view. So I have sent you an email. Unfortunately, you will have trouble accessing it right now. We're having a little technical difficulty. So please try again tomorrow.
Have you got on Hartford?
No.
That is the easiest way to get the hold of it.
And also give you a bit of an update on the current status of Dashlet, which is the tool to do that analysis of our data. So just a couple of points. We're here to show you how the AI is going to analyze the submission data. It's not about the results, so the results will come later. So it's very iterative right now, so it's still in development. So just please bear that in mind. It is also just one of the many tools of information that we get through this process. So don't, use it as you need to, and hopefully it will be nice and easy to read as well. It's a bit of a change from the last LGP where we did present some quantitative data via Power BI, if you can remember that. This is doing qualitative data analysis that is linked back to the actual verbatim comments as well. So, and I'll show you what that looks like. There will be separate reports come out of this for demographics and awards. We're hoping in the future that you will be able to, in the single report, be able to toggle between the different demographics and awards within one place. Whereas this time around, you will have different reports. I'll hopefully be able to show you what that means. Can I do that? Yes, so there will be different report buttons along here with the different views and different graphics. Yeah. So in terms of the system, there is a couple of clicks to get in, but once you're in there, down the side here is the different consultation points.
Is this actually up to date to where?
That's this morning.
As of this morning, thank you.
So each consultation point is along here. The halls is split out a little bit by award rather than being grouped together, if that makes sense. But I'll just go into top one here. It's got the about part here, takes it straight into the about, what the question is. Got a bit of analytics on the actual data. Then the two options. You can quickly click on a debate table and the overall analysis. So just going back here, at every point where we can, we link it back to those comments that have been submitted through from the responses.
So that's 87.
So it's 87
As of
comments.
today, I suppose tomorrow there's 87 comments about water.
Yeah, it's on that one question.
On that one, for that one.
About
The only, can I
And
ask
those are
for that?
comments, not responses. So responses is the number of people who tick the box
Yes.
versus comments, people who actually wrote stuff.
So with those,
Responses.
with those comments, until you obviously read them, you don't know which side of the graph they're going to fit into.
Correct. So so you can see here, we've got the different two options down the bottom, and you've got 121 have voted, well, voted, selected to that option, and 137. Out of that quantity, 87 have added comments. If we get into the specific options, there's 41 comments against that option, and 46 against that option.
Awesome.
And if we get into, this will give you the analysis of that submissions. If we get into like the debate table, where it's starting to break it out even further, these specific comments linked to that. They're making sense?
That's the comment, not the people who requested to have the total of them.
Say that again, sorry.
Well, you've only got the comments they've made on the water table.
Yeah,
Where's the total number on there of the people who submitted or the comments are submitted?
Something like that, it's 121 is on the other side, it's about.
something, yes,
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
yeah. So option 1, option 2, 121, 137 with a percentage mix. Out of that total, 87 comments, sorry, 87
So it
people,
was 300, there's 300, there's 30
Made a comment.
comment.
yes. Yeah, and then as you narrow it down to each specific comment, that narrows it down to the specific comments associated with that question.
And going back into those 41 people commenting, you'll be able to bring them up and where they're from, what age they're from, what region they're from, and how they rate that.
Not like it's no demographic information coming through at this stage.
But it will by the time we're submitting. A hearing?
We don't know if these comments will be broken down that way. I don't know.
It would require us to cut through, we can do the on this.
Yeah, I think that,
No, you're not asked the question, no, you're right,
but,
Yeah.
oh,
It's on you. Would you like to take one home? Have a little read?
I guess.
Only pull up those.
So if I go back to, so if there was a Manitoto report, specific report at, at this level, there would be a specific Manitoto report.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying,
Be down to the,
if we had your 360 people who made a submission, well, 42 of them commented.
Yeah.
Do we know the 42 of them commented are absentee landlords? Are they living in the region? Do they live in Clyde? Do they live in Batman? Because
Yeah.
clearly their discussion, whether we, if they're not here, maybe different. Well,
so if I'm understanding that correctly, Stu, it's like if that comment at the top one.
Yeah.
Who was it that made that comment?
Yeah,
Where did it come from?
Yeah. yeah, where is it? Where are they now?
Yes.
And if people come from Clyde or Cromwell or somewhere where there's new wastewater here, bang, way to go. Information on.
you know something.
Yeah. It's not on the list yet. Well, that's actually right.
No, if you register, you have to, but the hard copy form, sometimes people do say just when you looking through it about that. We enter the information that we have, so it's not 100%.
Some of the ones I've seen on it doesn't say where they're from or.
Yes, and we would see what is available,
Yeah.
and we can do that easily, quickly.
So you can prove they own a rate card.
If the job says that then,
It's not a compulsory question.
Yes, sometimes they can skip those questions.
Yeah.
That's what I found a lot.
Not saying
Those questions.
So the value of this piece of software is in those opening questions where you get a lot of words. And what we would normally do as a team is that once, but we can't touch them until the consultation's finished, because we then go through and tag them based on sentiment and then build this sort of thing. The beauty of AI Factory is that they are tagging it to go and they are refreshing it every night. So then we get a chance to look at the start of many those normally do. What we can't do right now is we can't filter. So we can't say, so many people said this, these people live in town, these people live out of region. We can't do that right now. This is just focused on those opening questions and breaking down the story around the 7 lines. So the groupings are still quite big, but for us, it's quite cool because we can produce a lot quicker. And we can, as things change and people might say, well, here's another thread coming, but another thing, we get it back on it, we can put that in, rerun it. So it's quite real time. Will be helpful, and as we get better with this tool, we will be able to hopefully start to get those filtering mechanisms because the quantitative data sitting there, at the moment, we're focused on that qualitative stuff. That's the thing, right?
I mean, your example, Stu, I believe they could potentially get that quite quickly, but it was up to see.
I mean, I guess just to give you an overview, and it'll depend on how many people consult have come back.
Absolutely, because you can't get a thing, you have
Yeah.
one person every day.
Yeah, you're gonna get 16 people talking about certain matters, you haven't got the effective view of the community.
And you need a critical mass to
Yeah.
analyse it.
Yeah.
And I guess the interesting part for me is that, when you produce, when AI is producing this, it is just taking that information, and there's no needing to go for a cup of tea. There's no, any perceived bias, that's all gone because it's all AI generated. So, you know, there has been comments in the past, well, which ones of the staff are doing this, and how do you know we haven't got their bias in there? You know, that takes care of every single one of those community members concerned that something could come through in a overall report. So that's,
Yeah, what we love with this too is those comments, and we go, oh, they got that right, and you can read through the comments and go, yeah, that's it.
Mm.
So that's what we can offer. If anybody listening to this, they can see where the comments came from that built that summary.
yeah.
So, I mean, a good example here, you can look at the key points here on option 1. And
Is this the
that does quite closely align with the comments that we're seeing in here.
Is this going to be public or is it just for the councillors?
This is public.
So they,
Oh, you mean public for the actual
yeah.
setup? I don't know.
Are the members of the executive going to be able to access them?
Once the report goes to council.
But they won't be able to access the toll, Cheryl, so we won't put a link on our website. But this here will form the part of the deliberations report, what will become.
So that be that, and
Yeah.
that part of it, access.
No, and once we get more comfortable with this tool, it might be a future decision for council. But, you know, once we know it works really well, at that time that we do enable the community a link to when we
So-
put it as part of the governance report, but wasn't our intention at this stage to enable the community access into this.
So therefore, you're telling me now that information is going to give you the basis to formally write a report to us.
Yeah.
So you're going to take bits out of that report that you want, or it's perceived.
No, so what we will do as part of the deliberations report, you'll get we'll put the quantitative data, and we will take the themed analysis from here. So Deb and I aren't going to be rewriting what this AI tool has said. So in essence, what the community is going to see is going to be a summary of some of this material coming through. Elected members will be able to see all the detail that sits behind that high level things.
And I guess I understand that, but look at that section in the middle there. As we've seen what's happened to Wellington and Queenstown, absolutely nothing to do with what we're doing in our long-term plan. But if AI takes that and the theme is that.
But that's still someone's comment.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, the reality is that what this tool does, correct me if I'm wrong here, is it takes everything, and if it's a reoccurring thing, it becomes almost a bit more, like it elevates its importance. If it's a one-off comment, it might not actually, just because there was more words doesn't mean that it's not
Yeah.
more or less important.
And that's what Deb's been doing as part of this is teaching the tool. And I know, Deb, you can explain what you've been doing there, but essentially there's still quite an oversight from the comms team on this tool, and Nathan as well, to make sure it's not spitting out weird stuff like that.
In my understanding, it'll spit out the information and analyses what it gets. And it gets a leaning to one way politically or environmentally or whatever. That's its theme or theories for a while. And it could be the government's doing that. But I mean, I guess it's analytically, it does a great job. But what information are we going to see? Are we going to see every submission like the old way in the handwritten format,
Yes, so what we
as well as information gathered?
so what we do is you do get the submissions in full. So
Yeah.
we will, you know, those spreadsheets we've been sending out as part of your deliberations report. We will take all that demographic data out because it's not public. It is going to be an awful spreadsheet because of so many rows with the hall. So it's going to be quite challenging to produce that. So we need to think about how that looks, but you do get the raw submissions. And then you get the themed analysis. So that's what we did last LTP. You got all the, remember we had like, oh God, 800 pages, or it's not thousands of pages. And that's, I think, transparency for the community because they can see what's been
And the main reason for that, there are some people in our community that are antagonisers to the utmost,
Mm.
who will, if they get enough of their group or friends or write enough negative or anti-government or anti-central government or whatever you want, can manipulate. If there's 15 or 20 people on a small type, could be just turf and randomly.
Yeah.
They can manipulate the process for AI. And if I look and go, that person don't have the same respect as that person or understanding of their situation. But AI doesn't disclose that because everyone's the same.
Yeah.
And we have
We
that.
just think of like,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's the same, I would be doing the exact same thing that AI is doing, because I don't evaluate whether something is good or not. Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
As long as that information is in front of me that I can make decision, that person or that group have not got a shared interest in this as much as that group, and that's, I guess, what it does.
I guess, going back to your point earlier, Stu, where if you had the, where and who was submitting comments, that will give you more information to make, to inform you to make your informed decision. By having that there, because that's the raw comments. That's specific.
Just as long as I guess we don't get it, it doesn't, the technology doesn't pick up and average out the experience.
But we've got all that data anyway already in our reports that we've been getting every week, haven't we? Like, we've been getting all the submissions, who's been putting them in, where they've come in, and that we've been raising.
It's probably easier, once you get access to the tools, to go and have a look at the analysis that it's done and look at and compare that analysis back to the comments, start to get a sense that it's actually saying what the commentary is saying. That's what we're seeing. That's historically what Debs has done in the past, is she's done that analysis based on what she's seen being submitted. This is, I don't like to say it, but you know, it's AI. Debs.
And that's really, I was just going to say exactly what I said. This is a tool. It's purely only a tool. All it is doing is summarising the comments that it's pulling out of the information. So exactly what Deb has previously done. It takes some workload off Deb. But this isn't what we're expected, or you would be expected to make decisions on. It's still most likely going to want to go through the submissions very well. So,
And that goes back to the original point. This is one of the many tools and information sources that you get to make the deliberations.
the effect analysis is really, why we do that is really to help councillors see at a snapshot, get a feeling overall for the sentiment of the submissions, and then we provide, you say, the raw submissions, so you can actually read all the comments. And I know it's challenging, that spreadsheet we currently got, so we'll think some brainy way.
Yeah.
Don't know what that is yet, to somehow produce that in a more friendly way for the.
Produce those full responses, but it would be.
Yeah.
But if we're reading them as we go, that we're getting sent, then we don't have to read every single one in our agenda, because we've already read it, right?
We've been getting them
We've
back,
been
so,
Yeah.
If you don't want to take the analysis that AMA is doing, the verification tool is doing, this is linking the comments specifically back to the options. So that is another way to make, instead of reading that big long Excel, this actually should make it simpler for you as a consumer. But just going back to your point earlier, you know, it should be easier on your screen, getting it printed off. And printing off that big spreadsheet is going to be quite a challenge. Yeah. But just bear in mind, it's just one tool and one source of information.
And everybody gets a different idea.
It's all linked back down to the specifics.
One person's submission is one item.
Yes.
The response IDs will be linked in with the Let's Talk ID that are already generated.
So once it's actually available to you, so my email is a little bit early, I will re-email you this group and advise that you can access it. But if you have any troubles, just let me know and we'll make sure that you can get access to it. But have a good look around with it and play with it, and you can get around it. Click on the buttons basically, navigate around. I find it personally easy to navigate around, but if you're not, please provide that feedback. So we are looking for input on this as well, and I'll take adding more data to those points when it's available, because not everybody's submitting.
Yeah, and I guess to the realist is you get a really small database with a comment from, and that becomes the leading part of the comments.
Yeah.
At least for this thing.
There is examples where we, if there's only one response or one comment, we've done no analysis at all, it's just taking them as well, because we can't do analysis on one comment.
And maybe it's got to be over 50 comments before you do analysis on it, because it's very spread. Or you can get the Andy 1080 group, something, put an analysis on their pest management or something like that, and lead the whole discussion.
And that's more than help to sort it out, we just, that's what we get, what's the, that comes through, it comes through. And can I just restate his initial point when he said, by all means, look through it and play and understand the process. But once those consultation period closed, we're going to be entering a whole lot of hard copies. There's going to be more information coming in, and we're constantly modeling it. So it's like we're ready to look at the content until it's presented to you as written. So people understand that it will look different. If you read something that's not that, it's different to what it looked like in the report. That's because we're still working on it.
It could literally change from day to day.
Yeah,
It's changing.
well, it should, but
It is changing from day to day.
just information comes in, it should move further.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
And, but not just in terms of what's being submitted, but also the product itself is being built down to the same size. We're making improvements every day.
Okay, right. Well, this is, I mean, obviously, this is, like Dylan said before, this is a tool. And I mean, elected members have to make the decision at the end of the day, but this gives us the raw data and collects it into things and things. So yes, I think it looks, personally, I think it looks like it's going to be quite helpful.
I think so.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks guys, that's really great.
So you'll hear from Nate when it's good for you guys to log
I
in.
get to log in. And I guess
That
that-
little green one.
yeah. Something's funny's going on with emails today, so.
Well, we may not have got the email either. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.